Hello and welcome back to MineColonies. I have spent a lot of off-screen time grinding, and instead of torturing you with that, I would like to give you just a wee rundown of how the last week has been. It all starts with being able to place a waystone, which I didn't realise were in this mod because I accidentally thought they were called teleporters. Because I know what I'm up to, but we have one now. It's pretty, it floats, and it's absolutely useless until I find something else. So that was about the only useful thing I found out while I was exploring. But until then, I was cutting birch. I was cutting oak. Nothing happened. Found some watermelons, which was great. Hopefully add them to a farm. Nothing happened to the other cow I saw. And then I enjoyed a lovely sunset on the way back and got to marvel at the beautiful ship, which ended up being the highlight of every trip back. Nap time. And then we had to help our builder because I don't know what it is, removing areas is the hardest for him. And instead of a thank you, I got a request. Made this clipboard, and I was super excited because I thought it was the one that shows you what you need, but instead it tells you what the villagers' needs are, their requests. It makes a list of who wants what and where to deliver it to. But I thought it was a resource scroll, which was what I was actually after, so that I could see while I was out and about the stuff that I needed. So I had to look that up because I could not for the life of me remember what it was called. But we got there, and then I needed more leather. So I mulled it over while digging some more dirt, because that's always productive. Had a snack. Said hi to this cow. And then wandered all the way home. So grateful for the gift that this cow gave me. So grateful. You know, I needed 2 leather. It dropped 2 leather. I got to wander home before it got too dark and the threats are out. It was fantastic. Until I got up the next morning and realised when doing some inventory management, which you can tell I'm really good at, I didn't have any leather. So we had to venture back because I kind of needed that leather. And thankfully, since it wasn't too far away and we'd managed to sleep through the night, it hadn't quite despawned. So we got that and investigated a plant before giving birth to a chicken. Finally got the resource scroll, which was great, and attached it properly. And then I can use it now to check what I need. And then we got back to cutting, this time spruce trees, which took me about 3 hours to find a spruce tree on the map, which was painful, but we got there, so what can you do? And now we have a ton of them, so it's fine. Then for a wee bit of stripping. Totally fine. And then building a wee island, which I was really upset about because there was a spider and I left it thinking it wouldn't attack in the middle of the day. But it turns out spiders will kill your colonists. I've lost 2 colonists now to those little buggers. However, I had an opportunity to check what else you can build, and I knew about the big well, dig, fill, but I didn't actually realize that you could change the material, and there's a whole bunch of other buildings. And it's interesting though, because it's not like, say, the hill stairs covered small or the storage. It's not in every material. Like certain materials have certain builds, so it'll definitely need some more investigating. But I did finish a house. Well, the builder finished their builder's hut. So now we can actually start building the rest of what we need to build. So I sent them straight in to start the town's hall. And as you can see why that was going on, I worked on expanding our mine so we could get a bit deeper. I eventually came to a stop because I hit a mine shaft. So that'll be good for exploring. It's going to peeve me off a little bit because I'll have to slightly change the way we're going down, but that will be fine. I will learn to live with it and we'll all be happy. But it was good. There seems to be a lot of resources down there still to collect, so I look forward to that. But until I get that sorted, I decided to go and place a farmer's hut. I did end up placing quite a few buildings around. I kind of forgot that I didn't have to do them all at once, but I was having ideas and city planning-esque things, so I needed to. And then I thought, surely, I argued with the backpack for a very long time. We've cut that out. But what I was aiming for was to create like a little buffet thing, like a little fruit stand for the workers. It turns out they will not use it, but that's fine. I even put it nice and close to where they're building the town hall. And it became kind of funnier as the fact that while I was waiting for this to be completed, the town hall, so we could see all the fireworks, I noticed the wee fella out the front was like starving. But I had gone round and given everyone food. But it turns out that the bread, and I quote this from the characters, is too raw for them.
Gold.
But the fruit is fine.
Gold.
I was quite confused. So the baked goods, not worth it. I thought there might have been a glitch or something, so I tried to give him different pieces of bread. No, he just needed apples because they're definitely not raw. But this happened with one other worker as well, which I found really interesting. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that in the future, because I don't know if they need to be leveled up, if that's possible, or if it's like a dietary requirement thing. I mean, either's fine because the fruit's super easy to get, but I don't know. I had a bit of a giggle, like, what's going on? The other two colonists are fine eating bread. So that was exciting. But it'll be worth it to see this town continue growing, which I admired a wee bit. Quite happy with how it was coming along. Can't wait to upgrade the buildings. And then I decided destruction was needed, but with building as well. So there was a whole lot of landscaping to get done in front of the town hall. I wanted just a little pond, just a teeny tiny pond. And all the thoughts of ponds must have made me lose my mind, because I kept like fricking around with the farmhouse and I couldn't figure out where to put the resources, as I had collected some. And then I remembered that you put it in the builder's hut, because it's definitely not like that's what I've been doing this entire series. And then I made sure the worker was indeed working before taking a nice little stroll across some newly built paths and a very small fraction of a built town. And then, could you believe it, but I cut some birch. It was good times. I even went as far as cutting some more oak. Bit of a rebel. And then I enjoyed the view again. It was just easy breezy day. You gotta take nice breaks. And it helps break up the fact that then you've got to destroy gardens to make more gardens. And I do like my garden quite nice and growing, so it makes me sad when I harvest them, but that's okay. And then, dun dun, we had the farmer's hut. And the farmer's hut made me happy because I was like, yay, I don't have to do any farm work. But I checked on this farmer several times, and the sir was just standing there. Forever standing there. Turns out he was the other one that needed not raw, but fresh apples. But every time I went past, he just stood there doing nothing. And I was like, I don't want to do the farming. I need you to do the farming. Please and thank you. I even tried sticking seeds in like the inventory or in the chests, and then I gave up and I went and did some more landscaping, which was fun. It's quite therapeutic just destroying everything and making clean slates. It's It's nice. And filling in holes. There's a primordial joy in just filling in a hole. But that's fine. I then started placing some more things, and I just want to freeze here for a second. Take that in. We'll come back to that in a second. It's actually more important than you'd know. It nearly drove me up the wall. I didn't actually realize until I was editing. And now it all makes sense. Because I thought it was a house. And then I went to place this house, and I couldn't figure out why it looked so different. And I played around with this for a long time. And if you go back and look at that freeze frame, you might notice there's a basket and a chicken. Showing you that that was not a house I placed, it was a chicken coop. So, problem solved. And then I set up to watch this house be complete. I lie, this is not the house, this is the tavern. Set up for this tavern to be complete, and then the sky started getting dark. And I was like, surely it'll be fine. And no, the builder gave up. It got too dark. They had to place one button, and they gave up. So we went to bed. It's the only logical thing to do at this point. And thankfully I didn't fluff around in the morning, because I only just got back to look at it. Froze. And it was built. The builder didn't even get there. It was like that whole thing, like you had to clip a ribbon. But what can you do? So then I bumped into the pesky trader again. But I am in the process of placing guard towers. So, you know, it won't aim for him, but I'm hoping it'll just chase him off because he's a bit useless. And that's fine. But we will eventually have guard towers up. We do get them up. And hopefully that'll stop spiders from killing my colonists, because that just seems what they like to do. But until then, it was back to the usual. The giant spruce trees are the funnest to cut down, but good God, do they take forever. So it was literally back to cutting, stripping, and depositing. It really does get quite repetitive. And this was the point that I figured out. I went back to harass the farmer about why are you not doing things. And I was putting seeds everywhere and that wasn't helping. And I decided to do the most human thing and speak to him. Because as I went through these menus, there was something about fields and automatic assignment to those fields. And I was like, I haven't built a field. I honestly thought he would just kind of, auto-find any of the crops that were around. But no. So I remembered under the decorations where I was just figuring out at the start of this episode that you could do more than dig, fill, and make a well, that there was some other options. So I went and tried to drown myself briefly, but I actually went and found the fields and kept them birch just to make it fit, and I plonked that down. And I felt ridiculous that it took me that long. I don't actually think I could count the amount of times I checked in on this farmer to make sure he was doing his job. And it just turns out that I hadn't done my job.
It's your gold.
But with that sorted, I decided to try and place a courier's hut, because you will be able to get couriers that move stuff around, and considering the restaurant was getting done and we have a farmer, someone's going to need to take the supplies to the restaurant. But at this time I was hearing weird noises, and where I had marked where I was going to landscape some more, it turns out we had a visitor who fell in the hole and was very stuck. So he got a couple of slashes to the face. And it was sweet as. So we just chucked the courier post down and decided to move the napping bed to the most inconvenient place ever because I just didn't like having to run to that side of our little town anymore, because that's not where everything was. So I plonked it right in the middle and went to sleep. Also decided this was a good time to put a fishing hut in. I did a lot of grinding across these days because it seemed to rain endlessly, and when it rains the villagers, not villagers, colonists, will not come outside. They will not do it. So I figured, well, let's put another thing in that will also contribute to food, and hopefully once the curry is up they can put that where it needs to go. And it was about that time that the guard tower was finished. It took way longer than it needed to, just because of the rain and the fact that that little builder would not come out in it. So this was good. We officially have a guard tower, which means we have guards. And then if I didn't know any better, I would say that there was some like editing magic. But within moments our field was finished and our farmer actually got to work. Although I'll tell you what, I also had problems because I was like, where is the food? He was quite happily just hoeing up all the ground. But it turns out you actually have to go over there to the scarecrow, which is called a field, which I find quite interesting. And you need to put the seeds in him. And you can determine the area that the farmer will plant, which is real handy. And then I found the guard napping.
Hi-ho.
Complaining. We did fulfill most of these requests, but I didn't have enough gold. But he's like constantly asleep. But you know, that'll be fine as long as he wakes up. And I guess what I'm going to leave you with today as we come to the end of the video is the fact that our restaurant is made. So hopefully in the next episode we can get the courier's hut finished, the other guard tower finished, and possibly the fishing hut finished. And then I can try and figure out how to make people do this. Because then you've got to put all the mechanics together to make them work. And I don't even know if I have enough colonists to make everything go. So we'll have to figure out how to recruit some people. But until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!